Every week, we're working hard to give you the latest weather updates, stories from around campus and the Pittsburgh area. RMU Live, bringing you the latest news.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Thursday, the 29th of February. It's a leap day. My name is Samuel Goldberg.
And I'm Hannah Shiflett.
Let's not waste another second and let's leap right into the news. We start off today's news with some breaking news from yesterday, as Senator Mitch McConnell officially stepped down yesterday after his record reign as the longest-serving senator. McConnell, who turned 82 last week, announced his decision Wednesday in the well of the Senate chamber, where he looked in awe from its backbenches in 1985 when he arrived, and where he grew increasingly comfortable in the front row when seated afforded the party leader. There was not a specific reason given to the step down, but McConnell, when asked the question, he said it was his wife's youngest sister's death that prompted the decision. McConnell had his critics and was not popular by any means within the Republican Party, but he did work his way up to his role. From the back row to leading the Senate, it was a wild ride for McConnell.
On Sunday, an active duty U.S. Air Force member identified as Aaron Bushnell set himself on fire in front of the Israeli embassy. The 25-year-old from Whitman, Massachusetts, was taken to the hospital where he later succumbed to his injuries. According to the Metropolitan Police Department, reports indicate that Bushnell was live streaming on Twitch when he approached the embassy and said, quote, "He will no longer be complicit in genocide," end quote. MPD has stated in an email that they are aware of the video, which was removed from Twitch, and is, quote, "not confirming the authenticity of this video as it is part of the investigation," end quote. The incident comes upon a series of protests in U.S. as members of the public demand for a ceasefire and potentially bring an end to aid for Israel. The situation remains ongoing as authorities continue their investigation.
Lawmakers across the country are scrambling to safeguard access to in vitro fertilization, or IVF, after several clinics in Alabama paused treatments over a recent state Supreme Court ruling that classified frozen embryos as children. The controversial decision by Alabama's top court effectively opened the door for legal action against those who discard frozen embryos during IVF, a widely used fertility treatment method involving the fertilization of eggs outside the body. The Alabama legislature is also wrestling with how to respond to the state court's decision. Alabama House Minority Leader Anthony Daniels, a Democrat, recently proposed a legislation aimed at classifying the legal status of embryos by establishing that, quote, "any fertilized human egg or human embryo that exists outside of a human uterus is not considered an unborn child or human being for any purpose under state law," end quote.
In Oklahoma, authorities are investigating the death of 16-year-old non-binary high school student Nex Bennett. According to police reports, a fight broke out in a bathroom at Owasso High School on February 7th. Allegedly, 3 female students targeted Bennett and their friend group due to their choice of attire. The students allegedly ridiculed Benedict in the bathroom, to which the teenager responded by tossing water onto the students. The 3 students then began the physical assault that later left the teenager unconscious, who later passed in the hospital. The school district has called the death devastating and remains committed to having a safe and inclusive environment for all students. Oklahoma's public school superintendent Tyler Walters stated that Benedict's death is a tragedy and added that there are only 2 genders. The incident has reignited concerns over hostility towards the LGBT community as new anti-transgender laws are put into place.
Former President Donald Trump suggested Friday that his criminal indictments and mugshot appeal to black voters, and claimed that, quote, "what's happening to him happens to them," end quote. The former president continued by saying, quote, "I got indicted for nothing, for something that is nothing. They were doing it because it's election interference, and then I got indicted a second time, and a third time, and a fourth time, and a lot of people said that that's why the black people like me, because they have been hurt so badly and discriminated against. And they actually viewed me as I'm being discriminated against," end quote. Trump, who faces 91 criminal charges across the cases, told a gathering of black conservatives here on the eve of the state's first in the South Republican presidential primary. Trump also made remarks of his face being on a shirt and mugshots. This is truly a wild time.
In the Alabama Supreme Court ruling that frozen embryos should be considered extraordinary children, the court's Chief Justice Tom Parker has come under scrutiny for connection to Christian nationalist movement. Parker joined the court in 2005 and wrote an opinion based on Christian-based sources, such as the Book of Genesis and the Ten Commandments. However, the judge comes under scrutiny for referencing the Seven Mountains theology, which advocates for Christian supremacy. The theology is well known as part of the New Apostolic Reformation, with which the House Speaker Mike Johnson has a connection, as does Parker. Matthew Taylor, a senior scholar at the Institute for Islamic, Christian, and Jewish Studies in Baltimore, stated that, quote, Seven Mountains is a structured outline for Christian supremacy, end quote, and that Christians are supposed to be in power over society. Taylor also added that NRA took part in the January 6th riot and orchestrated campaigns to restore Trump to office.
A staple of so many malls in America is closing. Macy's is shutting over 150 locations across America. They are targeting underperforming stores and closing them, while opening more of its better-performing high-end siblings, Bloomingdale's and beauty-focused Blue Mercury. Macy's also plans to add smaller stores at outdoor shopping centers, which have been growing in sharp contrast to indoor malls. This is happening because Macy's is losing their target area of middle-class shoppers as the wealth gap increases. Macy's is looking at how they can change who and where they are targeting to shop at their stores. Macy's has yet to specify which stores will be closing, with 50 stores closing by the end of the year and the other 100 by the end of 2026. And I know, Hannah, that you are quite upset with Macy's closing.
Yeah, I'm actually quite a big fan of Macy's, but there are other retail stores in which I can go to. And actually coming up, we have our sports analyst, Josh, who's going to be doing an analysis on RMU and Pittsburgh sports. And we also have great news about a boy who was just recently found and a lost ticket amongst event goers out in Glasgow. All right, after this.
When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover their unique mix of all kinds of traits.
Where'd Wiley go? Where's Wiley? Ah, there she is. Paw?
Do you remember being an ancient wolf? Do you ever feel the call of the wild?
You're a renegade cop, and I'm a con woman with nothing to prove. But together, we could really solve this murder.
They're a little bit of a lot of things, but all of them are pure love.
Welcome back to RMU Live. Let's now look at some local Pittsburgh news, as a missing boy was found shortly after he was reported missing by the family. Police in Clarington said that they've located the family of a young boy who was found walking alone outside. Police said the boy wasn't wearing any socks or shoes when he was found wandering in the 900 block of Van Kirk Street. A photo was posted Tuesday morning on Facebook by police, and shortly before 1 p.m. the same day, the boy was located and the family was contacted and are reunited. There wasn't any information shared by officials on how and why the boy was alone or any information about any of the family members. We are glad that the boy is safe and back with his family.
Monday night at around 11 p.m., shots were fired behind Lookout Avenue in Charleroi Borough, resulting in one person's death. The coroner was summoned to the scene, with the investigation being transferred over to Pennsylvania State Police out of Bell Vernon Barracks. The victim has been identified as 31-year-old Tev Jaramungo. The manner and cause of death are still pending per the investigation.
The Allegheny County Health Department is fining U.S. Steel nearly $2 million. The department says the Clairton Coke Works facility violated the Clean Air Act operating permit more than 360 times. Each of those times, U.S. Steel is accused of not properly using protective equipment to capture dangerous soot. It's released when the facility pushes out hot coke from the ovens. The company must come up with a plan to pay the fine, and they have 30 days to do so. This follows another fine after the county fined U.S. Steel for hydrogen sulfide pollution in December.
In the Mount Pleasant Area School District, bus driver Denise Fontanazza was recognized for her dedication to the students she has been driving for the last 25 years. Novelty Elementary School honored the driver alongside parents, students, and staff. She was given a gift basket and special certificate from the school district. Fontanazza is known for giving students a stick when they get off the bus, provided they are good. Upon gaining 5 sticks, students then return them to Fontanazza, to which they earn a prize, which she buys herself. Fontanazza stated that she feels, quote, very surprised and much appreciated, end quote.
Alzheimer's disease is one of the most deadly diseases as there is no cure for it. But people across the world and in the Pittsburgh area are collaborating on a study around one drug in hopes of finding a way to prevent the disease. Researchers at the University of Pittsburgh are looking for participants to join a clinical trial that could bring families some hope. Pitt is one of more than 70 places in the U.S. and Canada working on the AHEAD study. They're testing the drug lecanemab to determine if it can prevent the disease. The medication is already FDA approved to treat early memory loss. To be a part of the study, you must be 55 to 80 years old of age, normal thinking and memory abilities, willing to learn your amyloid results, intermediate, elevated, or not elevated, which may result to your risk of developing AD dementia. Have a trusted family member or friend who can accompany you to a few key study visits and be available by phone to answer questions about your memory and thinking, and willing and able to receive regular intravenous infusions once or twice a month of the investigational study drug or placebo for up to 4 years. If you have any questions about the study, you can reach out to Pitt's Alzheimer's Disease Research Center.
Comedian Jim Gaffigan announces the new dates for his 2024 Barely Alive tour, and Pittsburgh is one of the cities he will be visiting. Gaffigan, who is a 7-time Grammy-nominated comedian, actor, writer, and producer, will come to PPG Paints Arena on Saturday, November 9th, 2024. Pre-sale tickets started Wednesday, February 28th, with the code ALIVE at jimgaffigan.com. Tickets for the general public will start Friday, March 1st.
Can't get enough of RMU-TV? Find yourself tuning in to every show during the week? Well, you can visit RMUcenturymedia.com to get the latest on all things news and arts and entertainment. Also, check out Colonial Sports Network for all the latest on all things Colonial Sports. You can also catch other RMU TV shows like Colonial Sports Center tonight at 9:30 or RMU Focus tomorrow at noon. Other shows that happen are Sports Talk in the Berg at 2 on Mondays. And speaking of Sports Talk in the Berg, our analyst in Sports Talk in the Berg, Josh Woodman, is on deck. Hannah.
Yes, he is, and he comes right after this. And we're also going to be talking about the lost golden ticket amongst event goers at a Willy Wonka attraction out in Glasgow. All right after this.
Do you want to meet a family with a transgender kid? Here we are. Max loves to do backflips. Max loves to play his ukulele. Max loves to just be a kid and just be himself. When I found out I was pregnant, all I really wanted was a happy, healthy, whole child. And that's what I got. I think it's really important for people to know that trans kids don't have a political agenda. They are just kids. Like any parent, we love our kids unconditionally, and we will never stop fighting for them. Stand with us. Protect our families.
Wait! Not in the toilet!
No, don't do that. No.
Don't hit your brother! Ooh!
Not again.
I tell you about playing in the mud.
Raffy, not so close to the pool. Wait!
Frankie, happy. What are you doing? We told you never to touch the gun!
I'm sorry, I didn't think it was that big of a
deal.
deal.
You could have hurt yourself!
Safely store your guns, unload, lock, and away from ammo.
Welcome back to RMU Live.
Thanks. Thank you, Sam. And we have our sports analysis, Josh Woodman, who's going to be talking all about sports here in Pittsburgh and RMU. Josh, take it away.
Thanks, guys. It's been a tough week here for sports here at RMU. Women's and men's basketball both dropped tough losses to Northern Kentucky. The women's team continued their barren run, losing 76-52. Danielle Voletich led the team in points with 19, but it wasn't enough to stop the team from extending their winless run, now being one loss away from tying the program record with 17 consecutive losses. Men's basketball couldn't avenge their counterparts, also losing at home to the North 70-60. Women's lacrosse couldn't help the Colonials either, falling to 0-5 overall after losing to St. Francis 9-15. There is some chance at redemption for these teams, though, with some exciting matchups on this weekend. On Saturday, men's hockey will try to extend their season against Bentley in the first round of the AHA postseason tournament. Women's Lax will travel to our nation's capital to take on George Washington. But I think the biggest game to watch this week is in Geneva, New York, as men's lacrosse looks to renew their rivalry against Hobart. Some of the best lacrosse of the season takes place in these games. The Colonials lost to the Statesmen last season 12-14, but won the 3 previous matchups, 2 of which were in overtime. No matter the time or place, this matchup proves to be a classic every season. They meet. Now to switch to Pittsburgh sports, the Penguins will continue their West Coast trip tonight, while also looking to continue their winning streak against the Kraken. Although a lot of speculation on potential trades to continue to overshadow the team's performances. Finally, the Pirates will take on the Orioles later today in spring training, a preview of the team's opening day matchup. That's all I got for you guys today. I'll send it back to the desk.
Thank you so much, Josh, for that in-depth look at RMU and Pittsburgh sports. And Hannah, switching gears now, as you know, it is Rare Health Disease Week.
Yes, it is, and Manny Gaither from CNN has the latest.
My rare disease journey began back in 2001 when my dad Jack was diagnosed with a rare genetic condition called adrenoleukodystrophy, or ALD for short.
Over the next 2 years, Taylor Kane says her father lost his ability to walk, talk, and swallow.
He went into a vegetative state and he passed away on hospice care when I was in kindergarten.
At that young age, Kane also learned she was a carrier of this rare X-chromosome-linked recessive disease. It says she has a 50% chance of passing it down to her future children.
My dad inherited the mutation from his mother, and she inherited from her mother, and it goes on and on.
Kane says knowing she's a carrier has empowered her, allowing her to plan for the future. That's why genetic testing before pregnancy is so important, says Dr. Dallas Reed with Myriad Genetics.
It is a blood test or a saliva sample that can be ordered by a physician.
Reed says oftentimes carriers have no symptoms and no idea they have the condition. Testing can change that.
It does allow couples to make decisions about how to build their family. Do they want to have children? Do they want to use something like in vitro fertilization or sperm or egg donation? Do they want to think about adoption? So really doing the testing prior to pregnancy gives us the most information and the most options.
It's been 20 years since my dad passed away, which is crazy to say, but I feel like my advocacy for rare diseases is only just beginning.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Coming right up, we have finally some insight onto the Willy Wonka event attraction. They gained a lot of criticism from event goers and even had the police called on them. All right after this.
If you love them enough to suck the snot out of their nose at 4 a.m., then surely you'll check NHTSA.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Today, we face an unprecedented crisis. Tens of millions of refugees have been forced from their homes. But you can make a difference. Turn disruption and despair to hope and opportunity. Even small amounts make a big difference. Provide shelter, support, or jobs in your community. The more we understand, the greater sense of belonging we create. Act now. Visit supportcrisisrelief.org.
I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it.
Families don't have to talk about everything, but they should talk about how to plan for an emergency. Get tips and resources to make your family's emergency plan.
Welcome back to RMU Live, and it's Paris Fashion Week, where the best of contemporary fashion and design has been shown, and world-renowned designers such as Dior are presenting their collections and starting new trends for the year, all while captivating an audience worldwide. Each runway in Fashion Week is being displayed with creativity and innovation as they show bold statements and intricate details in fashion. Saint Laurent and Dior took over the show by displaying their original style to the neo-boudoir look. This year's Fashion Week is considered to be a major success as it wraps up on March 5th.
Back in December, Twitch announced it would cease operations in South Korea on February 27th, blaming what CEO Dan Clancy called, quote, prohibitively expensive, end quote, operational costs. Now, just days before Twitch's exit, it's been hit with a 420 million won, or $315,000 fine from the Korea Communications Commission for suspending its VOD services in 2022. The VOD service suspension was an early attempt from Twitch to cut operational costs. It lowered the overall video quality available in South Korea from 1080p to 720p in September 2022, then removed the ability for viewers to replay streamers' VODs altogether that December. It later removed the ability for South Korean streamers to create VODs of their own content. The KCC determined that Twitch ending the VOD service, quote, violated the local telecommunications business law by undermining the interest of users, end quote. The commission reportedly asked Twitch for data to verify why it would need to lower video quality for VODs and streams, but Twitch refused the request, citing confidentiality. Twitch leaving South Korea will, of course, significantly impact South Korean streamers who have built their careers on the platform. Its December announcement prompted anxiety from streamers who realized they now only have two options for continuing to stream: move to a different platform or move to an entirely different country.
Parents and children walked in the UK event titled Willy's Chocolate Experience, expecting to be immersed in the magical realm of Willy Wonka. However, fans were given a massive letdown that customers called the police, comparing the attraction to a meth lab. Customers were charged $44 with the idea that they would be experiencing the chocolate factory. However, event organizers had apparently used artificial intelligence to generate the promotional pictures, completely misleading ticket buyers into what they were about to experience. House of Illuminati, who organized the event, has issued an apology and claims it will issue refunds to those who bought tickets.
The Crow is coming to theaters, and we got a first look. The Crow showcases stars Bill Skarsgård and FKA Twigs. The upcoming movie, which was directed by Foundation's Rupert Sanders, is the fifth movie in the Crow franchise, which is based on the comic book series of the same name. It is a reboot of the original movie following musician Eric Draven when he comes back from the dead to seek revenge for the murderers of himself and his fiancée, Shelley Webster. The cast also includes Isabella Way, Danny Hudson, Laura Byrne, Sammy Bujila, and Jordan Bulger. Skarsgård is an actor who made a name for himself by playing the monstrous role of Pennywise the Clown in the new It movies. This has led to similar roles where the actor is either buried beneath monster makeup or CGI, including Crow in Eternals and Count Orlok in the upcoming Nosferatu remake. Despite a brief The Crow controversy after original director Alex Proyas made comments about the reboot being disrespectful to the original movie's late star Brandon Lee, this movie could be a perfect bridge between it and future Skarsgård roles. The movie is set to release June 7th in 2024. I kind of look forward to that movie, Hannah. That should be an interesting next set here in the movie series.
It should be. I remember watching The Crow as a young child back in the early 2000s, so I'm definitely excited to see where that is. But the Willy Wonka, The pictures.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a golden ticket found in that factory, that is for sure.
Not at all. And honestly, it quite disappoints me to know that there was an event organization that planned such an event to promote the new movie Willy Wonka starring Timothée Chalamet, and just to see that they used AI to promote the event in Glasgow, and for people to purchase the tickets at $44 and see that it's nothing like that, that's horrendous.
Yeah, there was even the actors were given scripts using AI-generated content to just, and it wasn't even, had nothing to do with the Willy Wonka show. But ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for us here on RMU Live. For Hannah Shiflett and Josh Woodman, my name is Samuel Goldberg. Have a great rest of your day.